But what I'm saying is that
All
you
right.
can't create a focus for a community based on belief.
All right.
You've got to go beyond that. You've got to go to something which is so real that the individual experiences the reality of that.
Well,
powerfully.
why not oneness? What is the what is
Yeah.
what is
But it's
the,
not a question of, it's you actually have to take people to transcend. If there is an experience of oneness, there is that experience.
Yeah.
It's a little different from the experience of a devotional God, but the experience of oneness is a reality. And it will feed, but it's got to be experience. It can't just be, well, look, we're all going to, here's an idea that we're all going to buy into. No, that's not enough to build a community. That's my point. It actually has to be not just an idea, it actually has to be a reality that we can tap into and experience so much that the individual is being fueled and nurtured and fed, by that experience.
And that in itself is not enough to attract that sort of community. What I would say, I mean, there has to be a will, that's for sure. There has to be a will to do it. Whether there has to be a purpose, I'm not sure. Whether there has to be a raison d'etre, yes, I think there has to be a raison d'etre. It may be it may be an away from raison d'etre. In other words, it may be, we don't actually want to live in survivalist mode anymore. We've had enough. We've had a bellyful. We want something different, right? And therefore, this is what we've created to be different, right? So in other words, it's avoiding a problem rather than creating something, but it's both in a sense. But you're walking away from, if you like, a perceived problem, which is this obsession we have with survivalism, even now, we've talked about this before, in the 21st century, right? And walking into something which, if we believe, right, okay, believe, maybe the wrong word, if we take on board, if we acknowledge potentially, that we are all one, that we are each other, that there's only one soul, let's put it this way, right? And that we are simply individuations of soul, that service of that whole soul, if you like, is itself a raison d'etre for a community like that. Now, what I'm saying is, those communities, I think, necessarily have to be, smaller, so you have communities of a certain number of people, rather than a world community, because in a sense a world community is what we've already got, and we've already seen how that divides and rules and all the rest of it. So, the basis is you start with a smaller community which becomes self-sufficient. It has its raison d'etre, it has its, its willingness to support, nurture, etc., and to honour and respect everyone for what they are, not for what they do, what status they have, how much money they earn, whether they play football for Man United or Crewe Alexandra. I'm exaggerating, but you see what I'm saying. So that all that prestige, all that ego stuff is out of the window. Okay, I know it's utopia, but this is possible,
no, it
right?
is, but my kind of comment is that it's desirable and it is possible, but it needs the transcendental process to help the individuals rise above.
So explain how that's going to work in practice. I mean, how does one, if you like, imprint a if that's the right word, how does one create a transcendental process?
Well, these things actually already exist, and every single human being...
So we don't need to do anything?
No, what we have to do is encourage it, and it's an awakening, it's a cultivation. It's not creating something new, The soul by nature has transcendental experiences. And we just spend most of our time trying to hide from them or cover them or, divert ourselves from them, and that's hence our absorption in the material world. But actually the soul naturally has transcendental experiences, and they slip through at times. We find ourselves musing on, higher questions and interests and ideas.
Okay, so how does this translate?
There are various wisdom traditions in the world which actually help us. Where you're based on experiences of very wise, wonderful sages who have kind of gone through processes and figure, well, here's something
Yeah.
that seems to work in order to encourage, spiritual realization.
Yeah.
And my interest actually is when spirituality is based on realization. Not, religion is based on belief.
But what does that mean?
Dogma. Realization is different.
What does, I
belief.
don't understand. What does realization mean?
It means where...
Self-realization?
Well, realization is the experience of the reality of something, not the belief that something is true. Belief is in the mind.
What's reality?
Belief is in the mind. Reality is what the soul experiences.
Reality is in the mind.
No. A picture of reality is in the mind, and often that's what you accept as reality.
So what does the soul see as reality?
The true picture of spiritual existence. But
Okay,
under ego, you will accept a lower picture. You will accept an image as the real thing. You accept the image in the mirror or the reflection in the lake to be the reality. The mirage as the reality.
Let me tell you what I think.
The mirage is always based on reality. But it's the mirage
Ego
of it.
reality.
No. There has to be a reality for there to be a mirage. You can't have have the illusion without there being the reality that you can be eluded by.
You've lost me.
Let
me tell you. Let me give you another take on this. Let me tell you what I think the soul's reality is. Right. The soul's reality is limitlessness, infinity, boundlessness, full stop. That's the soul's reality.
But it's never full stop.
Well, okay, full stop.
You can't. As soon as you put full stop, you're limiting.
Okay, full stop for the purposes of those concepts.
No.
Okay, what would you add then to those?
I would add personality.
That's nothing to do with the soul.
It is absolutely to do with the soul, actually. And the point is that you've got personality, which is boundless, limitless,
personality
infinite.
Is ego.
Consciousness. No. There is and exists in the material world what is expressed generally is an ego version of spiritual personality. Therefore, we can say it's what we call an ego version of spiritual personality equals material personality. But actually personality exists because otherwise it wouldn't be feeding through the ego and manifesting in the material world as material personality.
Where does personality come from then?
The soul. It is part of the spiritual reality of the oneness of conscious energy, chit. Sat, chit, anand. That which is eternal, that which is conscious, that which is blissful. Those are the three concepts of soul.
So what's that got to do with personality?
Actually, there's a fourth. Well, chit is consciousness.
Well, what's that got to do with personality?
Sat, chit, anand, vigraha. Also, the amazing kind of form of that. That's personality.
So what you're saying is that consciousness creates personality. Is that it? I'm
saying that, consciousness is the source of personality. And and the problem is most of the time we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We think that just because we have this ego-type personality which we're constantly expressing in the material world, therefore personality must be a material thing. But that's actually missing the point. That's getting so bewildered by ego that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Actually, what you have to understand is that the reason that there is an ego personality is because at the heart of the whole thing pushing out, the chitta is a spiritual personality, which then expresses itself through matter, through the ego as material persona.